The verbs ser and estar are the two verbs that mean to be in Spanish. It is sometimes confusing for us English speakers of Spanish to know which to use since we only have one verb that means to be in English. I am, you are, he or she is, we are, you guys are, and they are. We're going to first look at the verb ser. And ser comes from the Latin verb essere. We have words in English like essence and essential that come from this verb. And I want you to think about that when you're thinking about choosing ser or estar to use. If you look at the blue poison dart frog here, what is essential about him? What makes him be what he is? What's the essence of him? Well, he's blue. He's a frog. He's an amphibian. All of these things make this frog who he is. Another thing that is helpful when remembering whether to choose ser or estar is to think of this equal sign. If you can put an equal sign between amphibian and blue poison dart frog, you know that you should use ser. If one thing is another. So the first category we're going to use for ser is identity. If you're talking about a person, what is it that makes them who they are? So things like physical characteristics, their profession, their personality, their origin, where they come from, all of those have to do with identity. He's tall and very funny. Él es alto y muy chistoso. She's a teacher. Ella es profesora. There is no una in front of profesora because when you're speaking about professions generally, you're going to drop the un or the una. If you're going to be more specific, like a Spanish teacher, I'm a Spanish teacher, soy una profesora de español, then you will use the un or the una. But when speaking about professions generally, drop the un or the una after ser. Things which take place. So the day, the date, the season, the time. And something that is a little confusing for us as English speakers of Spanish, even the location of an event. So the time and the location of an event is described with ser, a form of ser. It's Friday, right? Es viernes. No? Or you could also say sí or verdad. The dance is Friday and is in the gym. Here you're telling when and where the event takes place. El baile es viernes y es en el gimnasio. It seems a little opposite of what you learned in Spanish 1, where we talked about estar being used for location. But here, when you're talking about where and when an event is, use a form of ser. Who things belong to also fall into the category of ser. So it makes them what they are. Jaden being my son, these keys being mine, they make them who they are. So they're my keys, son mis llaves. And the final category, what things are made of. Once again, we're talking about the essence of something. What makes it be what it is? So if we say the door, it's metal. La puerta es de metal. In Spanish, you're going to say it's of metal. So whether things are wood or plastic or cloth, all of those would be reasons to use a form of ser. Here are the conjugations of ser in the present tense. So, I am, soy, somos, we are, eres, you are, he or she is, él or ella es. You could also say you are when you're being formal, usted es, so if you were speaking to me. And then finally, you guys are and they are, son. Ustedes son, ellos son. In the imperfect, saying what you used to be, or you could also say the word was, you are in the imperfect going to have these forms. Era, éramos, eras, era, eran. We're going to be adding a new form this year, and that's why we've been leaving it blank for the past 2 years when you fill out your verb vitamins. And that new form is the vosotros form. You don't have to say vosotros when you say the verb, but just so you know what form it is, it's the vosotros form. And this is how you say you guys when you're speaking to a group in Spain. So it's used in Spain, and it means you guys. It sounds kind of funny. Sois. Sois is how you say you guys are. The vosotros form is used in Spain for the informal. The ustedes form is used in Spain to be formal. In Latin America, ustedes form is used, ustedes son is used for informal and formal. There is no distinction. So here is the vosotros form for the imperfect. Erais. The preterite. This is the one that sounds kind of funny. It's kind of fun to say. Fui. Fuimos. Fuiste. In Spain, if you're speaking to a group, fuistes. You guys were. Fue and fueron. If you've never noticed before, if you look across, fui is part of fuimos, fuiste is part of fuistes, and fue is the beginning of fueron. I often used to get the fui and the fue mixed up. To keep it straight in my mind, I think fui, I was. This is the I form. And then the future tense for ser, new for you guys this year. We'll be learning the future tense this chapter. We're going to take the infinitive and add an ending to the infinitive. Seré, I will be. Seremos, we will be. Serás, seráis, será, serán. So those are the future tense forms. I will be, you will be, he or she will be, etc.